under the hood. Just a little scratchy throat. The wife got hit a little harder, so I, being the man of the house, I have to get like a quarter of that.
Yeah.
You can never get the full blown
They get
as the
so
man.
fucking mad when you don't get it.
Oh, it's great, dude. It's the best.
They get
It's
so mad.
yeah, because it's like a superpower, And I honestly definitely one of my genetic superpowers that I got from my dad is never getting sick and or rarely getting sick. So yeah, it's
You're
very
German, right?
yeah.
Germ.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's in the prefix.
Yeah. German theory of disease.
Yeah,
German
exactly.
theory.
No, women get like Victorian sick, and you ever do that when they get like Victorian level ill? I've fallen ill. That's kind of like how they how they get sick. And they stare at you with like that crazy face, and you're like, "Are you okay?" And they're like, yeah, I'm sick." And you're like, "I know, but you look like something else."
Yeah. No, I think that just happened today.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. They all do it. It's just like, yeah, no, I get it. Like, I understand that the illness happens.
Yeah, from the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, I can't do that shit. And I don't never vote, cause I'm fucking broke. And either way, I know the police ain't gon' leave me alone. On a plane, about to visit Glen Rock. Need crypto, told me I should bring the Glock with me. So I packed up my piece and I'm sliding. Cause we might get caught up in a riot. Middle finger Trump, middle finger Biden. Fuck a left, fuck a right, is you riding? Know you love to see it, dudes rocking. Ain't no politics, baby, we just talking. From the birds to the bricks, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. Who you with?
Yeah, no, but it's great. Yeah, it's always such a flex. You never want. It's always just it's a weird flex. But also, like, I mean, a couple years ago, we both got sick at the exact same time. When it's like coming on, you can feel it. We got wrecked by it. So yeah, we've been through it together. But
yeah, you guys got all your PCR tests and your vaccines and boosters.
Yeah,
so you guys are good. Yeah, you guys are all good.
Yeah.
I was watching a riveting ESPN2 documentary. I don't think this has made the main ship of ESPN. Definitely a new era in sports journalism's happening. All of a sudden, I think like NFL Live was on or something, and then it switched into something else. And I was like on the computer getting some stuff ready for the show, and all of a sudden I hear this kind of like Mexican woman narrator come on, where she's speaking like I'm speaking, but every word is Yucatan, and all, she says the accent of the word. I know Shane Gillis has a funny bit where he's like, what if I just did that with Irish? And I just started like, I'm going over to Sean O'Flaherty's house later.
Exactly.
It's like, I mean, I have relatives from there. It's like, but anyways, this was about these women. You see these women wearing those like kind of like flowery Mexican garb, I guess, that they wear in like the kind of like, this is like a Yucatan area, kind of like Central American Mexico. So there are these women, and there's just a bunch of women, and they're just showing them sweeping constantly, and they're just sweeping. Kamala Harris, I'm sweeping shirt, by the way. When
constant sweeper, so the constant gardener, dude.
It is. I'm sweeping. But she's
sweeping.
You're sweeping.
I sweeping.
But they're just sweeping, and they're just like dreary. They look miserable doing this, and they're sweeping just like a floor of like dirt. I don't know. And the narrator's like, for years, women have been second rate in the Yucatan Peninsula. I was like, second rate?
Yeah.
We're like 37th. Dude, no.
We're like second rate draft pick of the sea, dude.
Humans, I guess. I was like, dude, there's bros that like trees that are sicker. They're like the second.
I saw that. I don't even know if it's new or old, but I just saw it for the first time. The Chet Hanks tweet or Instagram post where he's like, explain to me how women are the minorities. There's literally more of y'all. I was crying. Dude, I mean, dude.
But so this they're talking about oh, this place in the Yucatan, it has no access to resources, no access to like first world healthcare, blah blah blah, Bill Gates kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone, I'm picturing a 58-year-old woman watching ESPN2 after NFL Live. I guess this is who this is for. Watching this after Dan Orlovsky talks about Caleb Williams' film breakdown. She's like, "Oh, good. I hope now we can watch Mexican."
Dude, we need a deep dive on that dude. Just as an aside,
a lot of men have done deep dives on that dude. You know
I know, dude.
Yeah, but
God damn it. Dude.
Yeah. So anyways, this girl, this lady keeps talking like, "Oh, I'm." They don't have access to this. They don't have access to that. And they just don't really have a lot of rights. Like, it's just not, they haven't progressed with the Western world and with the rest of the Western world. And you have, so in 2019, there was an obesity epidemic in the Yucatan, which is crazy, by the way. And they were looking for activities for like them to do. And the Mexican government said Zumba, first of all. Remember Zumba?
Okay.
Remember when Zumba was popping?
Yeah.
That was a big time thing. And there were Zumba was they say these women decided to go their own route. Yeah. And again, you're in like nature. So I just don't understand. Like, there's an activity everywhere you could go do. There's literally you could do anything you want. You live in rural Mexico. Yeah. And but anyways, they said we're gonna start a baseball team.
Yeah. Okay.
It sounds great. First off, they started like just playing. And
so this is the ESPN angle. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So, because the whole time you're going, why is this on ESPN? Why am I watching this after the? So, but I was locked in. And dude, first off, we're about to record. This was an hour-long thing. I got 24 minutes into it, and I was like, what is the rest of the half hour?
Yeah.
It was great after this. What's the next half hour? But so they start playing. They're trash, by the way. They're fucking so bad. Oh my god. Like just straight up like 9-year-olds, like with the glove like this, like catching it wrong and stuff. And but these are like older women, and there's one woman who like knows how to play, like she's kind of good. And there's for sure gonna be a movie on this. This is gonna be a movie that no one goes and sees, and everyone just finger wags at all the audience for not going to see it.
It's a Rotten Tomatoes thing.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes 87%. Box office $14. But they were the main lady was like, told her husband, like, she's like, I'm gonna start a baseball team so everybody could get in shape and have fun. And he's just like he was just like, no, like jazz music stops, nope, like what? And that's then funny. He's like, that's just crazy. And they start talking about all the things that they were barred from. Like, one is a sick ass like river, kind of like cave river thing in Mexico. It's so tight. It looks so cool. It's got like there's just some crazy shit. Like, and it's like a sacred Mayan kind of thing, I guess, rituals that happen there. And women aren't allowed to go in. And they're like, oh, it's because the menstrual blood, it like fucks with the water and like it's not sacred anymore. And I've just come to realize they keep saying more and more things, and I'm just like, are the women just really annoying in here? Because I feel like all of it is like, we have these things in there for us, and it's kind of sick, you know?
Yeah, that's for the fellas. Dude.
It's for just the boy. Like, we have
they're
to
just horsing. They're just horsing, dude. Yeah, they don't want to. They don't commence horsing. Yeah.
So they said, I think they reached out to ESPN and said we need to take matters in our own hands. So they end up getting crushed like 20-1 in a bunch of games by like real women baseball players. So like they show up wearing the fucking tortilla woman outfit, like straight up. Yeah. Like on the front, like the old like tortilla blouse thing with the flowers on it. They show up like wearing that. They get mopped. Yeah. And then of course all this money comes in, like Facebook, it goes viral on Facebook, and people like, I don't know, my mom or something like clicked on it and were like, this is amazing. Yeah. And so they started sending money, and I'm like, honestly, if that was a grift, that would be sick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could definitely open the coffers for something like that. And who knows, maybe get some draft picks, or get some kind of farm league going, and maybe get up your skills a little bit, But yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody was really trying to get their bars going. Because the real thing is, like, I'm being shitty about this because it's being shown to me on ESPN.
No, that's my problem. It's like,
I don't care what they do.
And that's the thing. Okay, ESPN is like, it's like communist news network now, where I'm not even saying that in like the weird, like where all the communists are going to get mad at me or whatever. But the whole,
there's no supply and demand element.
No, yeah, where it's like force fed you, where you're like, I just want to make fun of Dan Orlovsky should be the most woman-like creature on ESPN, and he's not now. You know?
Whereas he's like, Dan Orlovsky on ESPN is like the brawny fucking towel guy.
I know
now,
dude.
like, and he has like an Andre 3000 suit on.
Dude, he's in commercials now. He's in legit like halftime commercials. I'm like, who the? Sorry, I'm pivoting to Dan. Oh, but no, that is crazy. I mean, I feel like the pitching and like third base is probably killing them. I feel, like I feel that those are
the girls' ERAs are are like they're fucking 47. They thought the higher number was better, I think.
Yeah,
and
pitch like 2 1/3 inning. Just like,
man. And again,
crushed.
that's what I mean. It's just like you're showing this. I'm like, who do you think is sitting down and watching this right now? And it's propped up by Disney. It's all propped up by Disney. That's all this.
No,
is.
That's
it's
the
become
thing.
A Disney film. It's gonna become
a big pill
film.
for me. Was like, how does ESPN taking a bath on all this shit? And someone's like, well, it's Disney. It's subsidized. Exactly.
Like I said it on the last episode, they get to the kind of nerds, the Redditors through Marvel.
Yeah.
And then they have ESPN for. It doesn't work as well with ESPN as it does with Marvel because obviously sports are Chad and cool, and but it does get some people, Well,
also, and they did to their credit, they did bring balance to the force with Pat McAfee, which you can't deny that. Like that.
Yeah, well, they want to
do a straight drunk
watch
a drunk a guy double in Ireland doing college football like for 12-hour live stream. That's pretty. That like wasn't happening 3 years ago.
There's still some, and they still have Pardon the Interruption, which is just two straight boomer dudes, like just talking like about like just dropping like 60 sports references about like a fucking rapper nowadays, like or the guy they've never heard of. It's great. It's still great, but this was like this kind of like prepackaged special where I was just like, okay, I don't care. I mean, good for them. And by the way, the thing was fighting obesity. Baseball's not what you do when you fight obesity.
Yeah, baseball's like the one sport where you could be fat and still
Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Literally, Bartolo Colon's like the fattest, ugliest guy ever,
and he's Latino. He's
he's Puerto Rico, but he's he's still. It's look.
We're gonna get you right back to the episode, but I just wanted to let you guys know of a few other things we offer at Rare Candy Industries. We have a Substack with free and paid subscription options. Free subscribers get access to all written content. That includes Bob's Red Pill. That's the best thing going on the internet right now. Trust me. Paid subscribers get full access to our premium episode feed. And that's just every episode we don't necessarily want to share with the general public, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's rarecandy.substack.com. We also have merch. That link's a little long for me to say right now, but go to the description, go to our merch store, and find a shirt that's right for you. We have Rare Candy shirts, Dr. Bronner soap label shirts, Rishi mushroom shirts, all types of stuff there. Check it out. There's got to be something for you. And lastly, check us out on social media. On Instagram, we're Rare Candy Pod, but on Twitter, we're at Rare Candy Pod 1. All right, enough of that. Let's get you back into the episode.
Mexico's fun, and I'm into this from like the health perspective. Like, it's weird because like you can be kind of fat as Mexican, but those guys live almost as long as anyone, especially considering for being fat. They don't have like that. They like American obese. If you're American obese, you're dead.
You're talking about people in Mexico, though, right?
Yeah, in Mexico.
Oh, I was just saying Mexicans here to get down.
No. Like you can be fat in Mexico and like live. They still live. Yeah, it's literally called the paradox. It's like
it's Gordo.
Latin.
You're Gordo.
Yeah, it's called like the Mexican paradox, where it's like, why are they? It's like the French paradox, where you can pig out on cheese and wine and still live. They have the same thing in Mexico.
Damn.
And so yeah, it's like
fucking Azul Zones, dude.
Yeah, Azul Blue Zones, dude. Yeah,
like he eats nothing, but
yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I was just thinking because I think of you whenever we were talking, and the funniest. I think of like Mexican voice way to say things, and my top one out Jacksonville, dude, for football, dude.
Yeah.
Moneyline Jacksonville, dude. Yeah, dude. I just love that one. Just rolls off.
Exactly. The one guy at my work kept saying Brock Purdy.
Yeah, dude, bro. I love it, dude. The goat.
He's so good at Brock Purdy. He's good.
Niners. Yeah, Mexican Niners fans.
Yeah. And he has like the like gas station like 1996 Niners hat.
Yeah,
like the gas station one from off the rack. That's like It's there's no other hat that looks like it. It's so funny. Yeah.
That's an affront to being from the Bay I mean, obviously now it's different, but like being a Mexican from the Bay and not being a Raiders fan, that's like it's kind of sacrilege. I'm just gonna say it, dude. It's just it's not good, you know. But,
It is what it is.
yeah,
We fled out, but
yeah.
there's a lot of disinformation happening on the internet right now. Apparently, they wheeled out Hillary Clinton to clean it up. We're going to talk about some stuff that's happening. So, the former president's been at least had somewhat of an attempt on him twice, violent harm. However, the real harm is people spreading misinformation that will lead to the election of Donald Trump. And this is what Hillary Clinton has to say about this.
Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence because.
Yeah, it's so basically she's saying
So it's like just glass shards in my ears right now.
Go to
Christ, dude.
I forgot about that beautiful, sexy voice she had,
dude.
Man, got me going. I forgot what a lovely lady.
Yeah.
No, she, dude, her, Tim Walz, all these people, they straight up like say like you should just go to jail for being quote unquote wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
but it's more of a group think like thing for them, because it's like, what do they even believe in? First off, all of you should be in jail for COVID and Russiagate. All of you guys, see you later. All of you should be gone by your own logic. But again, calling out hypocrisy of the Democrats is actually not really, it actually doesn't really do what people think it does, because at the end of the day, it's a flex.
No, and I was just talking to a friend a while ago, and they were relaying a part where they were just talking to like some normie Democrats who are all they're all like, not all of them of course, but the ones that are like smart and have good jobs and are in polite society and shit, and talking about RFK, and they just shown them up on RFK where it's like, hey, yeah, he's like an environmentalist, he does all this, he like rattled off all this stuff, like it's actually like a really good dude, and it's kind of crazy you guys don't support them, and they're just like, oh, okay, moving on. Like the point wasn't even made.
Oh, they hit a threshold. They put an audio compressor on.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
a limiter, threshold. Dude, just a big limiter, and and they can't peak at any moment. Like that red pill is like a peak where you're like, oh shit, something's wrong. Oh, I am wrong, and they can't do it.
Yeah, and my whole thing, and I, and I know we'll get into this too, but I just hate that that whole calm Sam Harris vibe, like, one of these days we're going to figure out what makes conspiracy theorists believe the things they believe. And that whole, like, if only everyone thought like me, that enlightened centrist who has all the right opinions on everything. But then you're like, again, like you said, like, okay, but you believe Russiagate, why'd you believe that one? Are we going to study that? Are we going to put that under the microscope too? Or what about the ones that we got right? That's the thing. There's never any reckoning for being right about this shit. It's like they're allowed to, once they move the Overton window over to where it's polite for them to admit it, like John Stewart lab leak kind of thing,
Kamala
and
Harris,
all of a sudden,
Kamala Harris, basically in the debate, she went. It was weird. I kind of short circuited for a second. She kind of went like China G, like lab leak pill slightly. And I was like, all right, that's not exactly, the way I would go about saying it. I think there's a Fort Detrick element. I think there's a lot more stuff that happened with it. But she dropped that, and I was just like, wow, that one subconsciously got dropped in like maybe 20,000 Haitian immigrant style, like in the liberal brains, and be like, oh, that was always here.
No, yeah. And again, like I've literally lost a handful of friends over that, over just gently suggesting in 2020,
the Rabrik,
dude, 2020, 2021, being like, yeah, that fucking came from a lab, and the same people were like, came up to, were like, oh, I saw on Crystal and Sagar's show that you were right all along, and they're like, yeah, that's cool, right? We're cool now. I'm like, oh, thanks for that weird not apology for cutting me out of your life. So anyway, obviously, like, I'm done. I'm not.
No,
if you're. Yeah, it's like I can't trust you. But whatever the Fort. Sorry, just as an aside on the Fort, I love the base communists latch onto the Fort Detrick thing so hard, not as a cool way to add nuance to the conspiracy, but just literally because they can't
It can't be
China
China
at all.
Can't be
Dude,
just China,
it's
yeah.
like so obvious.
Which
Like,
I agree. I agree that it's not
yeah.
just China. Like you
It's-
couldn't.
I
It
agree,
couldn't
too.
just be
No,
them. Like
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I
They're like,
agree.
you know, it's Fort Detrick, right? It's like, okay, is it though? Like, is
Why
it
would you
just
just
Fort
deploy
Detrick?
it
Yeah,
in one? Why would you deploy it in one side of the world?
yeah.
Like you would obviously leak it from. You'd
Like,
wreak it
let's be
everywhere,
honest,
dude.
none of us have heard of fucking Fort Detrick before this thing, except for like the most schizo ass
Yeah.
person, dude. Like, let's just not pretend that we've heard of this place. You know,
I
it's like-
haven't heard of anything half
Yeah.
the time. I'm just like, oh yeah, but then
Yeah.
it just with those two things, it's like, yeah, of course, obviously, like you would leak it in the east, you would leak it in the west.
Yeah.
Why would you not? Like
Yeah.
if you were gonna just wreak havoc in a very pivotal year, and this feels like that's what's happening right now is like with the Trump thing. I've been, dude. First off, I will say, for people that are saying Trump is like setting this up himself,
dude. Yeah.
first off, that would okay. Let's say that the media just doesn't give a shit about it. That's the crazy part. Like there's you have to straight up scour Twitter to like find this dude's old.
They want to move
tweets.
on.
Yeah, everybody.
Whereas
wants to move
every
on.
other psyop, they blast 20 hours a day on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, even like Fox News. I tuned on Fox News and it's like mentioned, and then they're like onto something else, and it's just like, and they're more like going after Kamala, but not really like what happened to. I'm like, okay, let's just say. So what happened was this guy Ryan Routh, I think his name Routh or something.
Mhm.
Looks like a female ultra marathon runner, very strange looking guy.
Jamie Lee Curtis, you know,
Yeah,
like on a bender or
Activia
something.
yogurt. Yeah, just a lot of shit. Dude, a lot of shit happening, man. Like, dude,
Double mastectomy. It's just fucking, dude.
double mastectomy. Not that's how you achieve peak androgyny, by the way, is just being that. Yeah, and you just start wearing like raver marathon gear and like fanny packs everywhere, and everyone's just like, "Hey, that person." They go non-gendered term for you automatically because they're just, I don't know what you are.
Yeah,
you know, and that's how you achieve that.
It's like Pat from SNL or something. Yeah,
but I was looking at exactly. I was looking at the tweets, and like for one, they back in like I think it was like 2020 or something. There's all these. Like I used to be a Trump person, a lifelong Republican, and I'm pissed now because I could never do this. This is a step too far. And like other tweets like, wow, why Biden, you should go visit the Trump supporter who was killed at the Pennsylvania rally.
Yeah.
During the attempt, because you should, all these things. And who knows if these things are just uploaded onto the internet. I don't know. I tend to think that this person was just a lifelong psyoped person, like probably a patsy or something. I would entertain.
You take one look at the face, you're like, dude, what the fuck is going on there?
We know these people are groomed to like do weird shit. Like they are like, and they can be deployed at very pivotal moments. And what happened, like, okay, there's all the people like the tough guy, PC principal, South Park liberal people are always like, oh, there wasn't even a shot fired.
Yeah.
And it was at Mar-a-Lago. It's like, okay, you guys think AOC almost got like raped and murdered January 6th, and she wasn't even in the same building. Like you got like you can't do that if you freaked out about January 6th. It does.
You have your favorites. We all have our favorites.
I'm doing the hypocrisy thing. I know I'm doing the hypocrisy thing that I just said. Yeah. It's kind of hypocritical of me, actually, to do that. But it's just, you can't, like, I would tell my friends, I'll be like, yeah, well, I mean, like, if that happened outside the Capitol, like people would freak out.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I mean, I'm like, yeah, well, Trump gets Secret Service protection for life, which I wouldn't trust him if I was him. And but in theory, he gets that, and that's a situation that got handled. And like, I think it's crazy the way these people kind of. I mean, a lot of them obviously want Trump to get murdered. Like, there's so many people that are like, "Oh, I wish it finally happened," and then you would have the least democratic election of all time. But to them, that's justified because Trump already attempted to wipe out democracy. He put his Marvel Thanos glove on and just destroyed the Capitol. That's like where democracy is made. Apparently, they make it there, like Keebler elves, and they thought that was going to happen. I don't think I'm that far off, by the way, in what I'm doing. I'm like kind of joking, but I think they think this is what happened. And so then anything you do to him, and this is what they do to people, they pin you down to be this, and this, to where any action against you is justified. And that's why people can just take shots at him and nothing would ever happen. And not like there's no. Yeah, I mean, their supporters are like, oddly enough, like, or not oddly enough, their supporters, of course, just getting active about it. Like, this is fucked up. Like, what, like, why can't we just have the election? Why can't we let, America speak for itself? I'm sure everybody's anticipating some weird fortification, Time Magazine fortification thing. I'm sure there's going to be attempts tried, but right now they're doing kind of an 1800s fortification where they're just like, let's just take them out. It's like, it's
I
crazy.
also just ponder for the average like liberal going through this. I just ponder the psychic vacuum that would be if he did get his head blown off. Like what, sometimes there's people, if you're like on the MAGA side, you're that's your guy or whatever, to varying degrees, where some people are like super into Trump and that's cool, and then other people are like, yeah, I'm just gonna vote for him, whatever, I hate the Dems and stuff. And that maybe there's like some element of hero worship. I think it's far overblown by the liberals that they're all, it's like, no, people just like Trump, But on the other side, it's a complete, just absolute, where sometimes it's like a law of attraction thing where I'm very careful with this in my own life, where be careful of the enemies and the things you criticize and the enemies you make in terms of the things you call out as wrong. And of course, there's all sorts of shit we criticize, like vaccine schedules and, Fauci or, all that stuff. But it's like, you don't want to like go hog wild with that energy, because what if it was all of a sudden gone? That energy would still exist inside you. I know I'm getting really hippie here, but I guess what I'm saying is like that psychic vacuum, if he was just to vanish, it would be very strange to witness, and it would probably manifest in myriad of bad ways, So it's not like, a lot of times you think, oh, if only this one thing or this one person were gone, all my problems would be away. And it's never the case, It's never really
Scooby-Doo. It's Scooby-Doo shit. Like, it's fucking, I would have got away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids,
Exactly.
It's just that every time. Yeah. And, I guess it's true in that show, but in real life, it's just like, no, first off, like, it's the thing people struggle with like Twitter, right? Like, or they're like, why am I seeing everything that I hate? It's like, because that's your identity, is hating things, and I partially me as well. That's why I try to expand to like books and stuff and find things I love to talk about and stuff, because I do feel a way more cathartic. Now, there's a good purge. When you hate, there's a good purge, a good pressure release, kind of clear out the excess air. There's that, but you can't dwell in that too long. But when I'm happy about something and gushing about it and it pops out, it's like after a while you actually feel like a weird orb around you, at least, and again, placebo or not, I don't care. I feel it. So it's, so that part's interesting, but about this shooter guy or something. So he's just like people in a long line. Cause first off, what they're doing with these two shooters, the Crooks guy, is that his name? Matthew Crooks, I think was the other guy. Both of them were the big gotcha for the liberals was, well, actually, he was a registered Republican. Yeah, and they love doing that. And I think that's
like taking that at face value, first of all.
Which exactly. Let's step back and look at that. Okay. There are a lot of these things. That, for like, especially the boomer side, they really count as gotchas, because boomers and like Gen X liberals and millennials to an extent, they didn't grow up in such a politically divisive world. I mean, there was definitely current things, but they had many palate cleansing activities that didn't involve politics. They had all of these things. So for a long time, they would have conservative people in their life, or they would live under a Republican president. And yes, they were complaining the entire time, most of the time, but it wasn't this level to them. To this is different to them. Trump is a different thing to them. Yeah. So if John McCain were president, you're not going to see these people deployed. These weird, never Trump Republican people that are deployed to like kill the president and stuff, because I do think these people are being groomed somewhere and sent out. I have no way to prove it, sorry, but I just think that's what's being happened.
Well, the why are they both in BlackRock commercials? One is crazy enough. I was already like, okay, maybe whatever. Yeah, I'll hand wave that away. Two, both guys in BlackRock commercials.
And why does BlackRock have commercials?
Yeah, I heard you say. Exactly.
No, I mean, it's like, what are you advertising? You just take everything.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, what do you need? It's like World Economic Forum shit. Like, why are you trying to put on a face? Yeah. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, why do you have that department?
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
but anyways, that's a good point. But then, these guys are like Lincoln Project ass dudes that are just like, look, I am for civil liberties, small government, and blah blah blah, all this like, Republican stuff that really is different than apparently Trump, to a lot of these
Yeah.
people. And you'll see on the more normie side, the non-conspiratorial side that I'm talking about, is you'll see Dick Cheney come out. Dick Cheney will come out and say, we got to vote Harris, guys. Like, obviously, I'm a Republican. Obviously, even though if you watch the Dick Cheney movie, he literally just like almost coin flipped what he was going to be, like Democrat or Republican. Like, it's pretty funny. You realize that these people don't even have that allegiance, especially the super, super high up, like, neo-lib con kind of uniparty people like that. But Cheney coming out and saying that, people kind of scoffed at it and said, that's not a ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
When Cheney came out. But to a lot of these like boomer libs and people who have suffered like hardcore Trump derangement
They
syndrome,
flip it. They flip it.
Yeah. This does not mean they like Dick Cheney now. What this means is that, wow, I hated that guy, and even he gets it.
Yes, they flip it. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
They because you see like the constant like Stephen King tier celebrities that are tweeting constantly all day, with people, in their replies, like, they're spending all day, Bette Midlers, all these people. Their biggest thing is, how could anyone support this? Because a guy like Dick Cheney, you might hate Dick Cheney. You might think Dick Cheney
he's literally Hitler. Dude.
Yeah, he's literally. It's worse. It's worse than all of this. So it's like when you do stuff like that to a liberal, when these people show up outside Mar-a-Lago with guns or all that stuff, they're just like, well, that's how you beat Hitler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's just like, yeah, I mean, regardless, you can get in the weeds about what this stuff is about, what it's really about, what the big game is, the long game is. All I know is I know a lot of people that would celebrate, would literally throw parties at their house if he was killed.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that when I was with people on the first attempt, and he like immediately the first thought was, and I was already like, oh God, because I didn't want to be around, I didn't want to. The first thought was like, oh, his base is totally going to twist this. Watch out. And I'm like, wait, hang on. What did you say? And then the other thing was like, oh, I wish he wouldn't have missed. And I'm like, okay, do you guys hear yourself? That's pretty, gnarly rhetoric for a normal person to talk.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys all been radicalized by the TV.
Well, that's just the situation we're in, man.
No,
that's kind of how they are. Like, though, they
but
act
I know
like
that
they've been pushed to that,
In 30 years, it'll be this whole thing of like, oh, in retrospect, it wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad, and I know that's coming already.
It depends on where we're at, because if it's full on black pill, like very bad, like technocracy, like bad, they might look at that as like the turning point of life and be like, remember when we beat him? And think about if you want, they might use him as that kind of rebuild for a new society. And look, I'm kind of hoping just nothing happens. That's why I want Trump to win. I'm kind of just want nothing. I don't believe he's my savior. I don't believe any of that stuff. I just want him to win.
No, yeah, same. And I'm also very, because I don't know, people just think all our retarded haters think we're like the Trump podcast now, which is fine if they do that. I don't care.
But
I'm also skeptical. I'm not sure round 2 will be better than round 1.
I know what Kamala Harris is, though, so that's just my thing. I know exactly what that is. And you have these people going on there saying we're misinformation, we're gonna fucking jail you for this. We, all of the like Tim Walz, all these people. That's enough. I'm sorry, right then and there, like it's an easy decision. So I don't like to big brain this shit. It's not that big brain of an opportunity.
And also, I've been seeing a lot. Yeah, 100%. I've been seeing a lot of the whole, because of the common claim, which I do think, and I've made this claim on this show before, where it's like, didn't start any new wars type of thing. And I think that claim, might be slightly overblown. Like, it's not, I don't think you can be a president and not have military contract in today's world,
for sure.
But the whole thing is like, there's guys will be like, no, they'll pull up all these random stuff. Like, he did it. He look at all this different stuff. And I'm like, why is Dick Cheney endorsing the
Exactly. That's
the
the
other
thing,
guy?
right?
It's like why are the biggest warmongers endorsing Kamala fucking Harris?
And then Kamala Harris says like Goldman Sachs approves my fucking economic plan and all these things. Like, okay, so we're talking Iraq war and 08 crash. Like we're like, so all these people are down to run it back.
Yeah.
And with prices of food being where we're at, she's talking about price fixing, which I'm not on the Kamala communism train. That's not like what I do. But that is kind of strange to do price fixing.
Well, that was my whole thing. That's when I was like, I'm sympathetic to the boomers that use that word, because it's like that. What else do you call? It's like, I'm sorry, like you know what I mean? It's like it's literally price fixing. You know, the whole dirtbag thing is like, oh, all the boomers say the commie word and whatever. And it's like, okay, like maybe a little overblown, but also, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, infringing on free speech and price fixing. It's like that's. I mean, I don't know, if I was going to start, I would go there. You know, that's the route I would go, and that's what I mean. It's like I don't know. To me, that has to be stopped. It just can't happen. Like for me,
100%. They need to be shown, and the whole thing is like, obviously the deep dark aspects of it. That's their main goal. But there are a lot of like foot soldiers that aren't, completely. And those foot soldiers need to be shown that that's not going to happen. That's not okay. And that's not.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Now, I was thinking too, Zoolander's a pretty interesting movie. I haven't read any of these books like Programmed to Kill, a lot of these big like mass shooter, kind of like red pill books where, you might hear about certain people being programmed and deployed to kill people and stuff. And, you see the amount of mass shootings going up, the amount that happen around elections, around midterms, around a lot of things. You tend to think like, wow, why did we just all of a sudden just start shooting up schools and stuff and doing these things? And now it's obviously a dark subject, because regardless of how you feel about it, it's fucking shitty that it happens. I like to have a little fun with how these shooters are made, though, because now, do you think they activate them with the song?
Yeah, I think it's
like
definitely
Zoolander.
Auditory. Yeah,
like relax, that, because
don't do it.
Because I was thinking like, that was the one, right? You're gonna kill the prime minister of Malaysia because he's gonna be doing
files are inside the computer.
Yeah, exactly. Like all that happens. So I'm picturing like a certain kind of mass shooter, and I don't know what you would activate them with, right? Because a lot of people, a lot of like around Columbine era, they'd be like, oh, Marilyn Manson, Eminem, like all that dark satanic, Trent Reznor-y kind of stuff. And I still think it's more pop that they do it with. I would think it'd be more pop. What would be your one that would get you, like, you think you'd, okay, all right, so this is what happens. You enter a building, you're kind of hazy about what's happening. You're in this weird state. You're not sure what's happening. You're in kind of a familiar place. Like maybe you've been briefed on something, and you walk in, and then all of a sudden, then boom, a bunch of stuff happens, but you come to again, you kind of black out, you come to, and you're covered in blood, and there's like broken lights everywhere, and you're probably going to be, what song played to get you to do that?
Yeah, it'd be Break My Stride, Matthew Wilder.
Nice,
dude. 100%, dude. Every time I'm like, that song just gets in my ear. I'm like, what is going on?
So does it? So do you hate it or
no? It's like one of those. I used to eat those like Trader Joe's ginger snaps when I was like a kid.
I'm picturing you in a Trader Joe's doing this, by the way.
Yeah, we got
Matthew Wilder.
It was like one of those things where like we lived right by a Trader Joe's growing up, and I would get them and I would eat one, and I'd be like, these aren't that good. And then an hour later, they'd all be gone, and I eat every single one. I'm like, fuck? Just it's like the song. It's like, I don't hate it, but it's not that good, and it's
nobody gonna break my stride,
dude. What the fuck? That song, dude.
Yeah. I know exactly. I think I have the same relationship with it. For me, it's I think I shared it with you already, but the other people don't know. For me, it's been making its way on commercials again, but every 20 years this fucking song pops up and it gets overplayed all in all. And I actually do hate this song, but it's Junior Senior, Move Your Feet. So so you picture me, I'm in like a Nordstrom, you know what I mean? I'm in a Nordstrom.
Nordstrom or Nordstrom Rack?
I would never do that at a Nordstrom Rack.
Okay.
That's why I bought my suit for your wedding. So if they deployed me there, that'd be a sick
Nordstrom
mission.
Whack, dude.
Yeah, regular Nordstrom, they could sell me a class element of like, you can't afford anything here.
Yeah.
But they send me in there with a big duffel bag, one that I clearly carried all by myself with no help. And or you're at Mandalay Bay, something like that, maybe something like that comes on, right? Everybody's there for like a big show, and I'm walking in. I'm taking pictures of people drunk beforehand, letting my presence be felt. And I set that duffel bag down on the ground, and all of a sudden, everybody, that starts playing, and I wake up, and I'm picking in bathroom stalls, like, where are you hiding? Like all this stuff. I can't fucking stand that song. Dude. I can't stand it. I don't know if you have to like the song or not. That's what I wonder.
No, it's almost gotta be the Ginger Snap thing. It's gotta be kind of like weirdly off-putting, but not quite bad. I don't know. I'm looking at the cover for that album it's called Don't Stop the Beat.
Oh boy.
Don't Stop the Beat from 2002. Dude, it's like got the album cover is crazy. It's like some Raspberry Beret Prince psychedelia shit. It's cool, dude. Yeah.
That song was always some fucking like that song was always some like kind of like Bob's Burgers, like ironic twerking song to me. There's that gif of like the girl from Bob's Burgers like kind of twerking, but it's like supposed to be stupid and funny. That's why I don't like that song. It's like because it has that rhythm to it where everyone's like, isn't this such a big joke that we're dancing to this? And it's like, no, it's not a joke. Like, put on good music.
Yeah.
It makes me sick. And one thing I saw was Ryan Routh, one of his tweets I found very, very interesting. And it had nothing to do with politics unless and it was, let me see if I can pull it up right here. He was tweeting at Bruno Mars. So, what was playing at Mar-a-Lago? I'd like to know. When this dude was deployed, he was tweeting at Bruno Mars, and one of them was that. God, where is it? Okay, at Bruno Mars Access. It's a Bruno Mars fan page, and he has other tweets to Bruno Mars. He says, "We are trying to save the haiku stairs. Bruno helped with the nanatorium, and we need his help now to save this World War II landmark for our kids." It was just kind of like a stupid post like a couple months ago or something. But like, what if Uptown Funk was his song?
Oh, okay.
That's another one of those ones.
That's one of those ones for sure. Yeah,
it's a bad song.
It's a bad song. Yeah, it's man. It's like Blurred Lines, where it's all these
don't get me started.
These like hauntological where they echo back. They're like retro, but they're missing just like almost like a whole instrument or like a sonic quality to them. Or what about Redbone and Childish Gambino?
Yeah, that's another one,
dude.
For sure.
The people. It's not that it's a bad. It's not a good song. But it's not that it's a bad song. It's that people think it's this.
Yeah, exactly. It's midwit.
It's a midwit. The greatest thing I've ever heard, and it's like, oh my god, it's just
Anthony Fantano's like,
dude,
just losing his mind.
Yeah. What's his song? That's
I don't know, dude. But exactly. But like, I do wonder because like I that would be my sick, twisted thing. Like, I've had a lot of thoughts about this because there's a project that I was kind of working on that I don't think will ever get completed because it's just not my cup of tea, but about that being the premise kind of being that. And about, a mass shooter trying to figure out why he was deployed and stuff, and it's kind of, I mean, obviously that's not an original concept, but I wanted music to be a big part of it. And I was just thinking like, how fucked up would it be if you looked at the playlist of like what it was to get you, and you're like, God, really? Like, fuck, dude.
Yeah,
maybe
that's like the Obama playlist that they release every year.
That might be it, dude. That might be it. Yeah, I know, the Beyonce country album. Like, what? Yeah. You're just like, that would be terrible.
From the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that red kid
Oh yeah, stomp clap, dude. Stomp clap stuff.
Yeah.
Why is that back? It's back.
It's crazy how it feels because it's retro now. It's like 10 years old now. It's like 10, 20 years old, which is crazy because it feels like it was just yesterday. And so yeah, now it's coming back. I gotta say, I almost like the retro current version better than when it was happening back then.
What is the current version doing that's different than stomp clap hey ho?
I honestly think it's like people who will hate on who's that guy, the
Hosier?
yeah, so Hosier, yeah. And I gotta I'm definitely not a fan. I saw everyone hating on him. The new songs, I'm like, these aren't half bad. I'm a hater, dude. I'm a music hater.
Yeah, you
I'm
are.
like, and so I'm like, these are all right. And I think he's I didn't like his when he was first blown up. I was like, these kind of suck. Or whatever.
You didn't like the Take Me to Church video where it was just two men making out the whole time?
No, I did not like that. Yeah, I've actually never seen the video, so
I
was it was that at all.
I haven't either, actually.
yeah, but I think that the people making the retro stomp clap stuff are just better musicians than the original stomp clappers. So it's they're doing it better than. Whereas Redbone is a guy that doesn't understand funk doing funk, and that's the difference kind of thing. And
yeah,
because stomp clap was just shitty to start with.
He made theater funk is what he did, and it's not great. It's not great.
But what else about the stomp clap? The thing about stomp clap now is you can have a stomp clap song without it being just coupled with this insufferable like suspenders, handlebar mustache, whiskey glass, leather bound book kind of aesthetic, like the over the top hipster thing, where now it's you can just exactly. I think that where before you had to be that kind of guy and you're like, oh, that's gay, or something. So
that's crazy.
That's my take on that.
You know how Kamala, just to switch gears here, how Kamala Harris had Montel Williams, that picture of her and Montel Williams, the talk show host,
yes,
from back in the day. Do you know the history of Montel Williams?
I just saw you, dude. No, that was
crazy. I didn't know this. Dude, everyone knows Montel. Remember, he's his big thing.
He's like a code breaker in the Navy, dude, and shit. He's crazy, dude.
This is back in the day, right? So this is back in the day. Him and Kamala Harris, I guess, were either an item or whatever. She was.
I love that he's got two. He's got two bitches on stage. He's dude. Yeah. Dude,
why else would you join the Navy? Yeah, yeah, and well, I guess to be gay sometimes too. So that's the other reason for either way, sex is involved. But Montel Williams, so if you're a Zoomer, you don't know who he is or something like that. But he just had one of those daytime TV shows where it was just kind of like a, interview. Oh, so and so's on Montel, and it's kind of peek into people's lives, and and then I remember his big thing was for medicinal marijuana, he got super into that because he had glaucoma. And I'm like, do you? I kept looking at him. I'm like, dude, you look fine.
Yeah
is that what glaucoma is? I don't know, but because I remember seeing people with glaucoma and they would look like fucking Stevie Wonder and shit.
There was a funny Mad TV sketch about him and marijuana back in the day. It was pretty great.
I think I remember it. But so Montel Williams has evolved from a media celebrity revered for his 17-year tenure on the Montel Williams Show into a multifaceted figure with endeavors spanning across television hosting, authorship, entrepreneurship, blah, 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 societal issues. Williams is notably recognized for his military service, having begun his career in the United States Marine Corps, subsequently becoming the first African-American to attend the Naval Academy Prep School, and then graduating the United States Naval Academy with a degree in engineering and a minor in international security affairs. Williams served 18 months in Guam, more like Guam coma, if you know what I'm saying, as a cryptologic officer for naval intelligence. His next assignment was a cryptologic officer for the Naval Security Fleet Support Division at Fort Meade, another fort I've never heard of until now, in Maryland. After 22 years of military service, he retired from the Navy as a lieutenant commander.
Damn.
So it's he retired from the Navy in 1996. His show started in 1991. So he was just straight up in the Navy, or he was in the military doing that show.
Damn.
So What was he doing with Kamala Harris, dude?
Yeah.
Was he getting her ready?
Dude, 100%. Yeah, there's that
He's
element
like,
of it.
he goes, I'll get this bitch ready.
Yeah.
Finna get this
Again,
bitch
and
ready.
yeah, there's some history there that we're
What if she
not.
threw him in jail for smoking weed?
I know. Yeah.
What if she was like, Montel,
Yeah. It's like,
stop
come on.
smoking that?
Yeah.
Bitch, I got glaucoma. And he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Everyone has glaucoma, Montel. And it throws him in jail, and the whole op is ruined. Like then they play her song, which is probably, I don't fucking know. Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of, dude, did you listen to this was crazy. I was like driving the work van listening to Bussin' with the Boys featuring Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Did you listen to that episode?
I haven't, no.
Dude, it's crazy because RFK always pulls out, first of all, like, and I get why people think he's an op, because he will come out with these stories where he's like, he's like, well, I think Will Compton or someone was like, or Taylor was just like, hey, how's your campaign doing so well? Like, you guys are really crushing it. He's like, my campaign manager, she's just one of the most genius people that I know. And like her backstory is, when he launches into like a story and he's like, okay, so she was in the CIA and then she had a fake marriage to another secret agent, and they were living together.
Oh,
and then they had a kid together, and it was a fake marriage with a real kid. And then already Taylor's like, wait, what? He's like, what the fuck are you? And then he's just like, and then she got.
And then Compton's like, dude, Shake Shack or Chick-fil-A? Which one? Which one, dude? Come on, Rob, dude. Fucking Rob. Yeah.
Exactly. No, but then it gets crazier. And then he's like, and then the CIA gave her fake money to start a real business, which is a program in the CIA. But then she was so good at it that it turned into a real business. And then she just ran that business for a decade. And then she became my campaign manager. And it's like any normal person to listen to that's going to be like, dude, what the fuck did I just hear, dude? Like,
family, man.
Yeah, dude.
Even the most based guy from the family is like, whoa. Like,
exactly.
It's
dude.
crazy.
So it reminds me of that, where you're just like, what? Dude, these people live lives that we're just completely unaware of. Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Another quote from Michael Crichton that I loved. It circulates a lot. There's a lot more people Crichton posting lately. I don't know. I wonder where that started from. Because it was kind of a dead zone a couple years ago. Nobody was talking about him. This is from The Lost World, and now Dr. Ian Malcolm, whom you may know from the Jurassic Park, played by Jeff Goldblum. His character in the movie is extremely based, but in the book it is just the Crichton voice, just like the John Kenner voice in State of Fear.
Yeah.
But this is a really cool passage. I haven't read the book yet, but I do know this part and what he's talking about. And it says, because it means the end of innovation, Malcolm said. This idea that the whole world is wired together is mass death. Every biologist knows that small groups in isolation evolve fastest. You put 1,000 birds on an ocean island and they'll evolve very fast. You put 10,000 on a big continent and their evolution slows down. Now, for our own species, evolution occurs mostly through our own behavior. We innovate new behavior to adapt, and everybody on Earth knows that innovation only occurs in small groups. Put 3 people on a committee, and they may get something done. 10 people, it gets harder. 30 people, and nothing happens. 30 million becomes impossible. That's the effect of mass media. It keeps anything from happening. Mass media swamps diversity. It makes everything, it makes every place the same. Bangkok, Tokyo, or London. There's a McDonald's on one corner, a Benetton on the other, a Gap across the street. Regional differences vanish. All differences vanish. In a mass media world, there's less of everything except the top 10 books, records, movies, ideas. People worry about losing species diversity in the rainforest. But what about intellectual diversity, our most necessary resource? That's disappearing faster than trees. But we haven't figured that out. So now we're planning to put 5 billion people together in cyberspace, and it'll freeze the entire species. Everything will stop dead in its tracks. Everyone will think the same thing at the same time. Global uniformity. Oh, that hurts. Are you done? So yeah, I think he's being patched up after being like hurt or something, and he's just like riffing with the medic or something. But it's like, dude, he was so right about the fucking internet, dude. Like,
inject that straight into anything he says. I'm just like, yep.
Yeah. And again, sitting on like millions of people's bookshelf.
I know, dude. I know.
Just like everyone had this shit. Like it was just like he sold millions and millions of books, and people were just like, "Well, that's entertaining," and put that down.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I'll talk to people that have right before you started pilling everyone on Crichton, including me. I knew people. So my friends were like, "Yeah, like the actual book Jurassic Park's really good." And then I got into Crichton, and then I was like, "Yo, you said this, and this," and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that," And they're like into Crichton. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. He's like a hidden. He's like an undetected force of nature, dude. It's crazy. Yeah.
No, it's nuts, and he's right. I mean, it's just this kind of dude. Like that was we talk about this a lot, but like the Terrence McKenna, who was very optimistic about the internet, is that you'll never catch us. You'll never be able to, take control over the people with the internet. Like there's going to be just constant, like Terrence McKenna, I guess when his idea was that he was going to, there would always be those small subgroups on the internet to where the diversity of thought was good. And it would kind of be everybody doing their own thing, which Crichton then saw the commercial element to it that I don't think Terrence McKenna really, it just wasn't his forte to see that side of it. And Crichton just goes, they're all just basically, it's going to be one. It's basically globalism in a sense. Like there is no identity other than what is projected into cyberspace.
And what it is it's there's no more websites. We all use the same apps and everything like that. And there's no more like going onto that crazy message board, or it's all apps and subreddits now. And that's the problem. I was just thinking about that today, where it's just like, that you don't hunt for stuff anymore, and then also on the other, even on the based side, where I critique that, where even the based takes get laundered and get pigeonholed into one way of where I'm very critical of that too, where, and it's, I think that's a big part of this whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's incredible. I think like, for one, if you've been listening to us for a long time and you haven't at least picked up one Crichton book, everyone always goes, where to start? He's not that type of author. Pick up one of his books.
Yeah,
it's not Nabokov. It's not Nabokov. It's not any of these people. Like there's no intro. His writing is super accessible. Like he's there to actually show you something and tell a very entertaining story while you're learning. And it's all there. So pick it up, whatever you think's cool. If you want the climate change fucking truth one, if you want the climate change truther stuff, I thought that was pretty. Pick up State of Fear, I guess is what I was getting at. We have episodes on State of Fear and all that on our premium feed. But I was laughing at my friend, Filthy Armenian, friend of the pod. He was.
Just always makes me laugh with his shit just pops up.
It was hilarious because I remember the debate night when Trump said the transgender surgeries on illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is literally just go say Gavin Newsom and type that sentence in. And he's like, we're going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, exactly. We'll allow that to happen in prison.
Yeah.
And then it became it's not happening. Okay, it's happening and it's good, actually. Yeah. Well, why shouldn't you be able to get that in prison? So it did happen. But I remember Filthy Armenian, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he just basically said, just remember, anytime these people try to like facts and logic you, they believe in climate change and Russiagate.
Yeah. Yeah,
literally. And climate change is the weird thing, right? Climate change is the I think about this a lot because that's the ultimate, like when you've lost an argument, like when you finally met somebody who isn't the Saturday Night Live caricature version of your enemy, and like they can't even beat them, by the way, at arguments. No. But when you meet somebody who's nuanced and is smarter than you, a lot of times they immediately. Climate change is when you break the glass, is when you're like, well, I mean, the fucking world's on fire.
Yeah.
And you say that, and that's supposed to be like, oh, shit, you're right. Like, we're all going to die. And it's like, that is such a crazy thing to install into someone's head. Like, that is. It might be the most sinister one.
Yeah.
It could be, I will say, there's other things that are worse, I think, with pharma and all these things. But, like, to let people know that we're this close from just the world lighting on fire. So like, okay, if all your policies get viewed as bullshit, like nobody wants to be a Democrat or something, but then like they're like, yeah, well, do you want to live?
Yeah.
you got to vote for us. You got to let us trans your kids.
That's a biggie, and that's one of those ones you can't unsee. If the cracks in the foundation for that one happen, all the rest crumbles for sure. And even just the way of thought, just literally the modeling, literally the climate models itself and the mental models.
That's why state of fear rules so hard, because he just puts the models in there, and you're like, nope.
Yeah,
like the best part of that book, or one of the best parts of that book, is when the kind of like true believer guy, right? The main Peter goes into that focus group that's supposed to be trying to get like climate change stuff happening. And they're like, we keep running into this brick wall. Now sit down. Let me ask you a few questions. It's like, okay, so the world's going to end. Oh yeah, it's going to happen. Well, actually, it's not. That's the thing. We keep coming up with these, like they're trying really hard to make it happen, and it's great. And he holds your hand through it the whole time. But God, I really wish he was around now. I feel like he'd frustrate me on a few things for sure. Like
my whole thing,
he'd frustrate me a little bit.
And the whole thing is, I mean, he's slightly read it, and he's in a weird way, he's trusts the science and some stuff, you know.
He wouldn't do lockdowns though, because there just wasn't any. There was literally no data that could ever show you that. He would have like a Scott Adams type, like coffee time with Crichton. Like he would have that. He would have like the boomer laptop, like staring at the laptop, kind of like on your work desk thing. And I mean, I guess that's what I'm doing too. But he would have that, and he would be wrong. I think he would fall for certain things. And I know I'm being vague there, but I think he would have a tough time with a lot of stuff. Like I think with a lot of geopolitics, I don't think I'd agree with him on a lot of stuff.
But the thing is, and this is what I don't get, because we had kind of a, not like, I don't know, like a falling out, but like we got it. You were clued in because I was cluing you in, but like one of our friends, we kind of realized they were like a damn climate change person. And I was just like, it was shocking because I was like, they're so cool and all this other stuff. And I sent them that Crichton, the aliens causing global warming article or whatever, the 10-page thing.
The PDF, right?
Which is great. It's really good. And it's like, and there's no way you can read that and come away. And I was like, well, what do you think? This is good, right? Like, I mean, you got to admit there's just a difference. And they're just like, nope, don't trust it. Don't like it. Don't like that guy. And I'm like, come on, this guy's clearly smarter than the people that are literally lying to you and making shit up to cause a state of fear.
What's that called? The pig in the walnut thing, right? Like, is that the fallacy? The one where they like, I guess I don't know what the animal thing is. It's like, okay, like instead of arguing with the point, it's where'd you get it from? That's always their thing. It's like, you're not engaging with what I'm saying, and not that we need to debate everything, but they always start the debate, and then you like, instead of asking me where I got it from, which I'll gladly tell you from, I got it from one of the greatest modern American writers ever of the last 100 years, and one of the most successful ones too, that has franchises everywhere and is really smart, and everybody loved until he went after Al Gore, and then died.
Well, that's the thing is I'm especially as I get older, and we've been doing this for a while. I care way more about just interesting thinkers
and
process and system oriented shit. And which is that's why I kind of was like, I like Scott Adams, because I'll just listen how he piece things, and he's super boomer core on some shit, and I'm like, okay, I'll roll my eyes and be like, okay, dude, whatever, but I'm like, I like the process, dude. Trust the process, versus like Cenk Uygur or something, where you're just like literally a fucking retard, and
straight retard, dude.
Like even if you agree with something he says, you're like, okay, but I don't trust you at all, and it's like, I don't trust or crystal ball or something like, like one of these, and it's just, it's just so, it's trust the process is, plus it's more fun to talk to those people, and they won't cancel you for disagreeing with them.
Well, they're used to somebody stopping them, trying to stop them. Dude, like that's the whole thing with like even when you listen to like leftists, like I'm not saying, I'm sure there were shitty ass ones back in like the 50s and 60s, or like, I just did the thing on Dashiell Hammett, who was like a communist, and I'm like, I bet you this guy was fun to talk to
100%,
in a sense, because somebody was actively trying to stop him.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like you can put your fucking hammer sickle thing on your laptop sticker and you can go to work, dude. Yeah, you might run into one guy going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But other than that, like, you're not gonna get fired for it. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. I'm just letting, like, it's not gonna happen now. And but that breeds kind of this weird. Well, everybody is. They just don't know it yet with them because nobody's stopping me, and
Yeah.
people on the other, like Michael Crichton, who again went after the inconvenient truth and all of that stuff. And if you weren't around during that time, that shit was massive. Global warming was huge. It was the best way to yell at your Republican neighbor. That was like the number one. It was basically this is how you yell at your Republican neighbor for having 2 trucks and a boat. And it wasn't about anything else. And you could just be mad at like Chevron. Nobody knew. People would just be mad at it, right? Like they wouldn't have like stats on what it does or anything. But people would go, gas.
Yeah.
And like it would just be these things. And they're like, it's ending the world. And it's like, look, there's certain things that those companies are doing, like polluting certain things that I think are actually, even if it doesn't mean the end of the world, it means shitty ass things that are happening that don't have to happen.
Yeah.
And people never took that argument because they're like, well, can I create a new enemy, an enemy that I already have, but one that I have this argument that they cannot argue against? And that's what climate change and global warming is. And I still think to this day, I've tried to prove it wrong. I've tried to look it up. I haven't seen a thing. I think that's why global warming got switched to climate change, was because of State of Fear. I do.
That's crazy. I love it.
I look at the timeline. Just look at
Yeah.
the timeline. And I couldn't find a legit reason why it just switched to that. Because that whole book's about like, well, it's always getting warmer. I mean, it's like it kind of just happens. Like it's, things happen. And so they kind of got their whole thing debunked by that. So again, we've explored that whole thing in depth on our Gain of Fiction series. That was a wonderful episode. Last thing I want to talk about, did you see that Israeli phone thing? Holy fuck.
What's up with that, dude?
I mean, I don't really know a lot about geopolitics, so I guess the Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon, they were killed and like severely injured when they had pagers that were if it's major, hit me on my pager. And they kind of like all simultaneously exploded in the smart. There's a video of it too.
That's crazy. That's like some James Bond shit.
Dude, it was wild. And I guess it's being tied to Israel. Not surprised if that's the case at all. And I guess the Hezbollah, and I'm not like defending these fucking people, dude. I just know, like, what do we all fucking carry in our pockets?
Yeah.
What do we pretty much have to have? Like, I have to have a phone for work. I have to for my job, which isn't a phone job. Like, my job is not a tech job. Like, but I have to have tech, or like they will like.
It's so dumb. Yeah.
Like, okay, so the 2 options I have are have a phone with our company's app on it and stuff, or I would go through a long application process for the company to buy me a phone. There is no like, we don't have a phone option. And so people will roll their eyes and go, look, dude, these guys are terrorists. They had to get them some way. And I'm like, look, maybe that's true. Maybe this was Jack Bauer fucking 24, Kiefer Sutherland shit that was happening. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
I tend to think that when I see Hillary Clinton going on TV and saying, you should go to jail for misinformation, Tim Walz, the candidate for vice president, saying just as much, having a COVID snitch line and all that stuff.
Yeah.
With it, if Israel has this tech, America has this tech.
For sure. Yeah.
And yes, maybe it's not as what should I say? Like, it's not as easy to, in a PR sense, to like deploy it. But if you get people mad enough at a certain subgroup of people, and like it or not, people aren't going to see the difference between us and like, Rush Limbaugh type, or like, or any other people. They will lump us all into one, and that scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I think back to our Corey Morningstar episode, which I don't know where she's been, if she's okay, if she's happy. The end of that episode, I was kind of like, and it was based. I love to talk with her. She was wonderful. Back in the day, everybody should listen to that. It was great. But I detected a little bit of sadness in her, and just kind of this like, this like defeatist attitude, which it's tough to do. It's tough to not have that, because it's like, dude. And her big thing is like the technocratic stuff that's happening. She was really good on a lot of like Great Reset stuff and all that. And seeing this, I'm kind of just like, man, what would be more blackpilling than your phone exploding in your pocket would be like people running out of the store and like sad, but then realizing that you were an enemy.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, he was shitty. And then they're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, what could he have done to us in the store? My Lord, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's like, then the shitty
Interesting.
thing was just like having this podcast or tweeting something crazy or, and to me, I'm sorry. This is like why the Kamala stuff scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
They
got some shit in the chamber, you know.
They got some crazy shit. And now, like I will say, even if Trump wins, that's not to say that they won't still try to do this stuff here. But
yeah,
I just know that if you have a president, which there will be a backlash if Kamala wins, because why not, right? I mean, that's just the news cycle that we're in. If she wins, like people are gonna go crazy. I mean, they're probably gonna stoke another January 6th episode if that were to happen, and you'll get stuff like this. And just seeing this happen, it stopped me in my tracks, and I don't know what the solution is, so I hate even talking about it. It's kind of a rule I have for the pod. At least we can't push people in the right direction, but you know, that's scary. That's scary shit, and that's why I value free speech and just like civil liberties, and it's really tough to do it in a some of these like super Elon tech people like that think you can do civil liberties and this and civil liberties and not and have like the crazy have Neuralink. I'm like, it's so
something's gonna come to a head, you know? It's gonna come to a head,
or go in your head. But I mean, I just don't see it, and that's why I am a reactionary in that sense. Like I just mean like, no, there's just not new tech that's made for like people to have more privacy. I mean, it's inherently made for you to have less privacy and more convenience.
Pardon me.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just where I'm at. But
no, and I mean, it's got to be. Again, it's weird how it's a psyop, just like with they did with RFK, how they made like an environmentalist Dem Kennedy royalty guy weird and cringe to the Dems and the liberals. The fact that they made like the Constitution and liberty and freedom like, those are dog whistles, you know. That's such a psyop.
I know.
So you like the snitch line, you like the rules, you like all that shit. It's crazy, and they're so explicit with it now. It's crazy. Yeah, the Hillary thing, the misinformation,
or the lack of endorsement. Our boy Usher, recent Rare Candy pod subject. He was a monster on The View. He said it so salved out, so just he was so tight. Joy Behar's like, what are you doing for Harris with her fucking stupid goblin voice? And he just goes, no, baby, I just think that's a personal thing. I think it's a personal thing. I'm not here to tell people what to do. I'm not here to do this. And which he's hammering the T-Dog, by the way. Like that's 100% what that means. He's hammering Trump on the ballot. But he said it in this way where he's like, you kind of have to think, and everyone in the audience claps because he's like, look, that's something, you know. That's a personal thing. When I was growing up, people weren't just talking about who they were voting for all the time, which is true, and all that. And he kind of just made a very good kind of political answer that if you know a thing or two, because if you're voting for Harris, you just say it. You know, like there's you say it. It does. You'll get the major media bump. Billie Eilish did it today with her weird incestual brother thing that she does. And boom, she's all over the place. Taylor Swift. I mean, you get the bump. Now, Usher, it's funny with Usher because you think about, okay, like I could see like a white liberal going to Usher and go, Usher, okay, there are people not as fortunate as you that look like you. And like, you need to kind of think about their future. Like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Like, I promise. I know how those people are, but I'm not trying to tell you what to do. But like, there are people that if Trump wins again, like, forget about it. Like, there are people that are going to be hurt from it. And he's just like thinking like, dude, I have a Vegas residency. I get to just like, I could like pop Molly and just fuck like my whole life, like for the rest of my life. I'm still jacked. I look like I'm jacked like Ocho Cinco. Like, I like, what? Like, he's like, what is Kamala Harris going to do for me?
Yeah, exactly.
Like he might be on. I mean, that capital gains tax. That's fucking. A lot of people don't like that.
No, dude, that's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah.
yeah.
You can't tell me Taylor Swift was like, "Nah," did the Tyreek Hill, like, what state am I moving to?
She could make the
thing.
money back though. Like
She could, yeah.
she has a route to like, okay, I can do my like I'm mid 30s or whatever.
You can't tell me that it didn't cross those people's minds.
sure.
Though. Like one time.
She'll have to take a bath momentarily for sure.
Yeah.
And then, but like that, even just the people trying to invest and make some money and stuff, it's like, yeah, fuck that. And they're always like, dude, that's not something you have to worry about. And it's just like, okay, what are you doing with the tax money?
Yeah.
And then you ask them that, and then they say 15 ungodly things that I don't want done with tax money. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. Great. Fuck, dude. It's just like, man, yeah, I think the that's the funniest part with that. And then you have the Diddy situation. The Diddy situation.
Yeah, what's I have not followed that.
It's fun. It's fun.
Is it like because a lot of times I'm like obviously R. Kelly, bad shit he was into, like and he should have a work release. He should be allowed to
100%.
tour with. Like,
I don't see nothing wrong with a little work release.
Yeah, exactly. With P. Diddy, and obviously, like, he's very unlikable. He's like an unlikable guy.
That's the problem with this whole thing is no one's ever liked him.
But I mean, when I was reading the thing, I was like, and again, I know this is gonna come under heat, but it was like, oh, he did freak sessions with prostitutes, and I'm like, like, I'm sure it's worse than that, but I'm like, that's how it was explained to me.
They're
and I'm like,
McManning him.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is? Yeah, so he hired prostitutes and like partied with them for days at a time, and they were like they wanted to leave.
There's
like,
definitely some like trafficking.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I'm like, and I'm sure it's worse than what's being told, but the way it's being described, I'm kind of like, and I don't like the guy. I think But anyway, so that guy, that's all I know about it.
I think he's a blackmail. I think he's always been a blackmail agent because it makes sense because nobody's ever been like, yo, P. Diddy was gassing on that. Like, man, you hear that verse, dude? Like, by the way, kind of a synchronicity. He has a tie to the song that you mentioned.
No way, really?
Remember? No.
Oh, sample. Yeah.
Nobody can hold me down. Yeah. I'm just saying that's
how the master of like lazily sampling shitty songs.
Dude, remember the Jimmy Page Cashmere where he's like falling from the side and like Jimmy Page is like getting paid $9 million to do this for a bad Godzilla movie. And like the Cashmere one was great. But he did get caught with 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, I did like that it was said as various freak off supplies. I did like that.
It makes me think of like Atlanta, like Freaknik, Atlanta, 1995 or something. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I mean, like there are some like serious sex trafficking allegations. Like I don't know. Again, I don't know. It's just like I'm looking at it and I'm like, and then there's definitely like there's always the conspiracy theory about him and like Justin Bieber.
Yeah, that's almost or Odell Beckham Jr. or something.
Yeah, and then I think Usher got implicated too. Sadly,
Usher could cut, dude. He's like Marvin Gaye. He could be like, "What are you gonna do? So what?"
Yeah, he's like, "I'm just so sultry. I'm just
exactly, dude.
Just such a sexual being."
Versus like Meek Mill, that would just destroy his entire existence.
That's the other one. Remember the video of Meek Mill boxing where he was like not hitting the bag hard? It's so rough. If you look it up, it's like, oh, it's rough.
Yeah.
But Justin Bieber, he was like 15 and had to spend like 48 hours with Diddy, and they're like nobody ever talks about like what happened. And there's just a lot of those situations that are happening, and there's. I think there's a lot of people that have always known like this dude's always like up to something, and this dude's always like the whole Shine in the club where he like had him take the pistol for him or something, and like he's just like he's constantly skating by. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he had some like to be original Epstein thing happening where it was just like a little more grassroots, a little more rap, a little more a little more fun, a little more like fun to the normies. Like, oh man, this is shit, really? That was happening this whole time? Like, but yeah, there's everyone's coming out. It's like, oh, he's groping men and doing all that, which he probably is. I don't know. Like he always had bad vibes. Like, no, I'm telling you, nobody ever liked him.
No. Yeah.
That's the strangest part about it. People liked R. Kelly. People loved R. Kelly.
Yeah, and the
People-
thing, and yeah, they did. And
Yeah.
the thing is, like, there's also like that spiritual little man syndrome of just being like always second fiddle, but still wanting to be like a billionaire. So you just sell like water, to like become like a
100%.
tycoon or whatever. And yeah.
50 Cent's been really winning off of this P. Diddy stuff because that was kind of his like
dude,
one of his. He's been a rival for a long time.
50 Cent, dude, is so good.
I know it's just funny because I remember I was team The Game back in the day when The Game and 50 when G Unit broke up. It was a pretty big deal, you know.
Yeah.
And the game who is. I'll say he has not. I picked the wrong horse to win because 50 Cent is insanely rich. He's funny as hell.
It's a long game. Game was great. Musically was great.
Yeah. Based in Red. 50 Cent's based in Red Pilled.
Yeah.
And then like the Game started making like weird like People magazine like these are the celebrity Zino rap and very, very cringe. And actually used to be a male stripper too. Not that disqualifies you from making good music, but they were right about all the insults to him. But 50 Cent's just been crushing it. Like he sees that he's going to become the new guy, and I really want him to become the next great black filmmaker, the non Jordan Peele, because he has that show Power, which has moments. It's kind of a soap, kind of like a soapy, like over the top soap opera show that's on. It's very, very popular with obviously a certain demographic. Guys at my work are super into it and stuff, but it is good. And if he could get back to start making like really good, not like neutered black movies, I think he could be the new GOAT, 50 Cent.
That'd be cool.
Because dude, I did a show on movies, Low Res podcast. It's out on his free feed now. But I strongly suggest you support Low Res Patreon as well because he's fantastic. But he it's on his free feed. We talked about Baby Boy, which is one of my favorite movies of that era and of that genre, and Dead Presidents, and Don't Be a Menace When You're Drinking Juice in South Central in the Hood, the kind of spoof movie. And we did all this, and I realized I'm just like, man, these movies don't have a certain. They all have teeth to them, like they're funny, they're self-critical. Yeah, they're still like, the white man and all that stuff, but then also just like shitting on each other and stuff. And it's just like, it's punching everywhere. It's not this floating racism monster that Jordan Peele seems to show us every time. Where Jordan Peele just made like the kind of like, I'm gonna take what M. Night Shyamalan did and make it even like more Obama. And that's just, he's M. Night Shyamalan. That's what he is. And
M. Night Shyamalan, dude.
M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, and he's there. You go. I thought we had. I was like, it has to work. This has to work, but I added a syllable.
Yeah. You gave me the assist, dude.
It is. Yeah. It was Gary Payton to Sean Kemp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I had. I mean, that's kind of like what he does now. And you realize you'll watch all these people. It's like, oh, there's a new up and coming black filmmaker. I guarantee you I know what the conclusion of his film is when it comes out. Guess what? You'll never believe it. Racism happened. No, this time it's different. Yeah. No, this time we're filming it in Santa Cruz, Glen. This is going to be so cool to you because you love Santa Cruz, Glen.
Yeah.
Oh, floating racism monster.
Yeah.
Came out again. That's what Us was. And I'm just like, it can't just be Jordan Peele, man. And Jordan Peele said, I'm a horror connoisseur. It's like none of your movies are scary.
I know, dude. It's like it's almost like you can't say that because then it's just try hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, it's bad. So I want 50 Cent to come back and make some actual, and they're not even exploitation films. It's not even what I'm saying. It's not like, I'm gonna get you, sucker, or like any of those. Like they can be serious films. John Singleton, who did Boys in the Hood, Baby Boy, a lot of these, he passed away recently, but he was able to make like serious film that had that edge to it, that rap like edge to it, and it was great. Almost everything he made was great. I just really want 50 Cent to take that throne and jump in there. I hope he can. I really hope he can. And like start his own streaming.
He's like
I do.
Black Mel Gibson. Yeah.
Well, there's your first collaboration.
Exactly.
Right there. 50 Cent finances, Mel Gibson directs, cop drama. Who says no?
No,
I don't.
Dude.
I don't.
I'll
Yeah.
hammer the $20 ticket for that, dude.
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
there. I'm laying down. I'm buying 4 seats and laying down and just chilling. Like, come on. Loaded fries, dude. Come
Loaded
on.
fries. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, guys, coming up, thank you for powering through sick on this episode. I don't think people realize it, dude. You have the HIV virus.
I do.
Powered
I got the
through.
Wuhan flu, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You powered through on this episode, but that's what we do. I mean, you can't take the day off. So we have Gain of Fiction. It's coming up this weekend. I know I missed a week. I try to go every 2 weeks, man. I try, but it was tough, man. Tough work assignment. Wasn't able to read as fast as I wanted to, but that's all going to get caught up with. Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut, as well as Harrison Bergeron, the short story. Got 2 great guests for that. And then after that is going to be By Night in Chile, Roberto Bolaño. Then we're doing Salem's Lot, which is going to be great. Try to time it up with a new movie release. And there's going to be a Stephen King episode there. And probably we're probably going to do something with we are with Welbeck's new novel that's dropping.
That's gonna be fun, dude.
I know. I can't wait. I can't
wait.
wait. I'm so glad he dropped one in like real time for us. Like just like I don't care if it's good or not. I don't care. I'm sure there's no way it's bad.
It's a 500 pager, dude. It'll there's some there's some
is it 500? Yeah, nice.
Some spicy takes in there,
nice,
dude.
Yeah, I got it pre-ordered on the dude. I gotta say, man, the Kindle. There's
dude.
People are scared. People are scared of Kindles. People are scared.
I need to get it. I know it'll save me money in the long run too.
So I tested myself out. Here I read on my Kindle. I read like probably 6-7 books in a row on the Kindle, and then I was like, okay, the next 3 I'm gonna have paper copies. There's no difference for me. Like it wasn't like I need the screen like a pacifier. It wasn't like that to me. In fact, it was cool because for one, reading in bed. Yes, is the one. So that's the way to go. But anyways, reading in bed, you can gain so much on that. But anyways, on that note, guys, everyone have a safe week, and I'll catch you guys